The Arizona Cardinals are back to work, looking to make it 3 in a row on Sunday against the Chicago Bears, Johnny Venerable.
Per a new report, Monti Ossenfort, he's calling teams. He's looking for pass rush help. It's about time. Speaking of time for PHNX Cardinals now. Hello and welcome in live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. This program brought to you by our friends at Bet365. Download the Bet365 app today. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer. Find out why, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary with Bet365. I'm Johnny Venerable. Brack live in Studio K. Damon, Dawg, producer extraordinaire behind the mic. We got Holder fold the line later in the programming. We're going to talk Arizona Cardinals injury report ahead of Chicago matchup this weekend. But first, we got to start with a report that broke earlier today via our friends at The Athletic. Brack, Monti Ossenfort, from the pleading of this fan base and potentially his own team, appears to be swayed, at least momentarily, of buying at the deadline, looking for help. This is per Jim Jones of The Athletic. Arizona, which remains in the thick of things in the NFC West, they're leading it currently, also has been calling teams in search of pass rushing help. Cardinals, 27th in pass rush. Bo, you react to this news. Legitimate in your mind?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, given the injuries that they've sustained at that position, where they are at this point in the season, 4-4 atop the NFC West, I don't think that there's any doubt that Monti Ossenfort is doing his due diligence. Now, calling's one thing, getting a deal done is another, especially when you've got teams all over the NFL that are knocking on the door of a postseason berth and also need help at the pass rush position. So, you can have some of the slumming it teams like the Patriots come out and say, hey, yeah, we're going to be buyers too. It's like, no, this is more of a realistic approach to it, because teams that have kind of played themselves out of contention, out of the discussion as far as the playoffs and playing in January and February, they start to look at, okay, 2025, here are the guys that are not under contract. They're going to walk anyways. What can we get of value in return? And I think Monti Ossenfort, like any GM, is going to sniff around that. But the Cardinals have some extra incentive now that the division is up for grabs.
I think Monti Ossenfort, hopefully this is not just being leaked out to appease the fan base. And respectfully to Jim Jones, I am not super familiar with his work at The Athletic.
Mike Jones,
excuse me. A very prominent reporter is Mike Jones, but again, you're in The Athletic and you put your name on something, that to me is worth its weight. They're not just throwing that in there. So Cardinals historically have used Ian Rappaport. They have a good relationship with Ian to get information out to the zeitgeist. So I'm tempted to believe this report. I have not heard anything similar. We've been pushing sources. We've been working the phones for the better part of 2 weeks now, trying to get you people a name to latch on to. And I think, my co-host credit here, this has been very touch and go, right? The Cardinals at 2-4 were never in a position to buy, according to most. And I would imagine Monti Ossenfort was in that camp as well. And then now you fast forward, it's not just that the Cardinals are 4-4. It's not just that they're 2-0 in the division. They lead a division with very vulnerable teams. I think we all expect Seattle to fall off at some point, have their first losing season in forever. Cardinals, I think, are going to sweep the Seahawks this year. Don't buy Geno Smith at all. At worst, they're going to split with both the Niners and the Rams. They're 2-0 right now. A lot of momentum there. Like, why not the Arizona Cardinals? And if you're Monti Ossenfort, I'm sure this is outside his comfort zone. Like, you can't tell me. I was talking to somebody earlier today, Bo. When was the last time Monti Ossenfort like made a trade of significance, right? Forget Desmond Ridder, like throw that away for a second, and then forget draft day trades because we know he's in his bag on draft day trade. When was the last time Monti Ossenfort like made a significant trade to his roster? I think like the only one that I can think of outside of discarding Isaiah Simmons, special team ace, and Josh Jones was the Joshua Dobbs trade. He said, I got to go and get a starting quarterback for this year because my quarterback room has been so atrocious. Am I missing another trade? I think that's it.
Yeah, but look, I think that's a bit unfair considering it's year 2 of the guy on the job, and year 1's assignment was clean house, take this thing down to the studs. That's what most of those deals were. But look, I mean, the unknown, inactivity is not an indictment that Monti Ossenfort is incapable of picking up the phone and making a deal before the deadline, because I don't think that's the case either. Like, we've seen the guy with the pressure on, with his team nearly on the clock, trade down and then trade back up. I'm going to count that. I think that the guy, when he gets on the phone, can get a deal done if he wants to do that. Now, does the deal make sense for his team? That's another thing. And I think it's another box that you want to be able to check off, because it's part of the position. It's part of being an architect of an NFL organization, being the general manager, is when your team is in desperate need of upgrading a position, can you get it done and also get it done in a way that's not going to, hamper what you want to do in kind of stop what you're not stop, but slow down, what your long-term vision is. And I think that that's where, Monti Ossenfort, that's what kind of ups the difficulty level. But I'm not at all in the camp or have the feeling like, hey, just because he doesn't have it on his resume that he's incapable of doing it.
Well, I don't want to say incapable. I just feel like
you said he's a coward. He won't pick up the phone. He's afraid of making a trade.
Drop a like on this video if you could, despite my co-host's egregious lies here on PHNX Cardinals on a Wednesday. I do think like I'm going to be apprehensive until he does it. Is that fair? He hasn't signed a big ticket free agent and he hasn't traded for anybody. Now you could, slam the notion in my face that, well, there's a rebuild, Johnny. Okay, that's done. It's over. And guess what? Your team has overachieved in many people's mind. Guess what now? Like, you put this team together from a draft and develop standpoint. Congratulations. You're going to reap the benefits, hopefully, pray to the football gods, of MHJ and guys like Paris Johnson Jr. and Michael Wilson. You're going to reap the benefits of those players, hopefully, for 10 years, right? But when does the clock start ticking? We're like, okay, we're going to be viable during NFL seasons now. We're going to make postseason trips. This is the norm for the Arizona Cardinals. And I think to be able to enter that equation, you got to dip your toe in. Like, we know you can cook, Monty, in April. We've seen that on display. I think the jury still is out on the kind of GM Monti Ossenfort is in March. And again, if you're asking me my preference, I'd rather have you be a better GM in April. Clearly, he and Dave Sears have that market cornered. They're good in the draft, right? But the returns in March, identifying NFL talent for this team, are hit and miss. For every Yelda Froholt and Mac Wilson Sr., there's a lot of, I don't know, Sean Murphy-Bunting and Justin Jones. There's some guys that maybe they'd like a mulligan on, okay? Opting to stick with Colt McCoy, trading for Desmond Ridder. Now is the time. Now is the time to be able to go into this opportunity with the trade deadline on Tuesday. I'm being serious and say my team.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Finish the point.
I feel like my team has rewarded me with a 500 record, and that should be applauded. But anybody with a set of eyeballs knows this is not sustainable with this pass rush group. We need help if we're going to try to win the NFC West, and that should be the goal. Now, the goal should not be we're going to eclipse our Vegas over-under of 6.5, 7.5. The goal, I don't even think, should be at this point a winning record. When you get to November football and you're in first place, and which they will be if they win Sunday, you're talking about, I'm going to finish the job. I'm going to finish this division. I'm going to make Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay eat it in January and either sit home, not participate, or go on the road to Detroit while we're hosting playoff games for this fan base that's been starved for quality football. And if a 5th round pick or a 4th round pick helps that cause, shame on anybody who balks at that. That's a joke.
And that's not the conversation I thought we were having. I mean, is this by? I love your passion, by the way. Respectfully, I love your passion.
Saying that. You keep saying that the last couple of shows. It's disingenuous. It's almost like, okay, fanboy, I like your passion. Let me tell you what the real world is like over in Tempe when I'm over there slumming it every day with the Cardinals. Did you hear that, Damon? I love your passion, just little guy.
He's like giving him a little nuggie.
Hey, buddy, I love your passion. Halloween coming up.
That's cute sport.
Yeah, what are you dressing as? Look,
cute sport.
Look, I mean, so like all that, I thought you were going to say by any means necessary, and that's where I think that you need to start to kind of position yourself. What are you asking from Monti Ossenfort? Because if you are asking for him, and what the conversations are for Zadarius Smith, a very good day 3 pick, then yes, you should be willing to spend that, because we've seen what he's already brought back in 2 drafts, like guys that I think you're excited about, that you can maybe project to be something, guys that can play snaps for this team, but also you've seen some misses, some guys that are on practice squad. It's not something that you should put on a pedestal or hoard day 3 draft picks, especially when your team has done like what you said, put itself in a position, show it's ahead of schedule, be resilient, come back, and then firmly put itself into a wide open NFC West division. Like I agree with that. Like, so what are we talking about here? Are we talking about, a Thanos thing? Like, what did it cost? And at the end of the day, to just contend for the division, everything? Or are we talking about, be willing to spend a day 3 pick, just like we've been seeing spent, on a Deontay Johnson. Basically every deal that's been done has been a day 3 pick. Like, I think that's fine. Like that's a fair request to your general manager as the team sits right now.
I think the Thanos method, which I'm proud of you for kind of using that reference correctly, is
kind of
like, it's not.
Where did I go astray?
I don't know, Damon. It didn't feel very fluid to me, but I'll look the other way. I'll give you the win. That's Detroit, right? Detroit, who've never won anything. They've got an older quarterback in Goff. They're having they lost Aiden Hutchinson. The Lions are like number 1 seed, Super Bowl or bust this year. I feel like they've done their due diligence in the draft. Like, there was some BS rumor that the Cardinals were in on Myles Garrett today because of Wikipedia and some notification. I don't know. That's not real life. Like the Cardinals
are. By the way, can we just touch on that real quick?
Okay, go ahead.
So, according to Twitter streets, and nobody seemed to get a screen cap of it, that there was an ESPN push notification that the Cardinals had acquired Myles Garrett, and then it just disappeared with not one person. Like if I get an ESPN push notification, I see Myles Garrett to the Cardinals, first thing I'm doing is clicking the 2 buttons on the side to screen cap that bad boy. Nobody did that, but apparently Browns fans and Cardinals fans alike, there's a few of them saying that happened, and then ESPN's got Myles Garrett on the Cardinals or whatever, and Wikipedia, which is free for anybody to edit, they're putting, the Arizona Cardinals on Myles Garrett's wiki page. So it's something that's kind of taken on a life of its own, but there is no like actual truth to that rumor.
Do we have proof that Johnny didn't orchestrate all of that? Because I think that there's like a 90% chance that he created the Wikipedia profile.
No, listen.
If Johnny did have ESPN notifications up and that came up on his phone, he would have passed on. Like if he looks at it, it goes, if he gets a little notification tone and then looks at his phone and says the Cardinals have acquired Myles Garrett, he's done for. He's
at least fainting.
Yeah, he's fainting. He needs help up. He can't
palpitations.
Right.
I remember, this is a true story. I remember where I was at an office job when the Cardinals traded for Chandler Jones. Nobody around me knew about the Cardinals, cared about football. And I said, "Oh my God," out loud. And people are like, did you have like a death in the family? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, my favorite team just housed the Patriots on this trade. Check this out. I swear to God, that's a real story. So it would have been that, like, probably times 20. So yes, the Cardinals are not trading for Myles Garrett. You don't need anybody to tell you that. You guys know that. That's a Lions kind of move because you're not replacing Aiden Hutchinson with Zadarius Smith. Like, there are varying levels of how this is going to look and go. Like the Lions need to, that's like the equivalent of trading for Christian McCaffrey, like once upon a time. And then some. Cardinals aren't going to do that. What the Cardinals are going to do, or what they should do, the entire day 3 draft, pick pool should be available. Anything
4 through 7.
Yes, 100%. If I have to hear that the Cardinals balked at a trade for somebody to help them because the pass rush is non-existent, and that team wanted a 4th instead of a 5th, and the Cardinals balked at that, I'm going to throw up. It's going to make me physically ill. I love 4th round picks. Taylor Demerson's going to be great. Like how many historically great 4th rounders have the Cardinals had? The Cardinals just made their mark. They had 7 picks in the top 90. I didn't love them all, but they hoarded that. It's like hoarding buried alive, but Monty and his draft picks, right? That TLC show. That's what we're gonna get a graphic put up, and there's just gonna be 1, 2s, and 3s all over the place. But you know where you find those 4, 5, 6s, and 7, like in the backyard under a tarp somewhere.
Right.
Go grab one of those.
Where you find like the poor cats,
Yeah, and
it's like under
the stuff from Hobby Lobby, the disposable tubs, that kind of thing. Stuff you get at a garage sale. Go get some of those and walk it over to Cleveland for maybe a different pass rusher, or walk it over to Tennessee, etc.
Yeah.
So the Cardinals need to be in on every pass rusher at this deadline and weigh not only the price, but the best fit for them. Because I do think like fit matters too. Like I don't want, Josh Uche supposed he wasn't a fit. They had every chance to sign him. Ossenfort knew of him. That hopefully that's going to end up being a nothing burger for the Chiefs. But if it's not, it's going to look bad for Ossenfort. So he must understand, like, I have been judged based on my draft resume and free agency. Now it's time for me to see if I can do what needs to be done to help my team get to the postseason, because I think we're all in a collective effort. I checked this morning. Cardinals have a 40% chance right now to make the playoffs. Okay. Before the season started, it was a 10%. You're going to punt on a 40% chance. They have the easiest strength of schedule, the 4th easiest strength of schedule left of the year. The team they play on Sunday has the hardest, right? Yeah. They haven't played anybody.
Well, they had the easiest.
Right. And now they have the hardest. Take advantage of the moment. Don't take for granted postseason bursts, especially and I'll end on this. If I'm Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon, and I know how the Bidwills operate, and I know Michael Bidwill probably thrives and cherishes postseason bursts, much, to a greater extent, division titles. Cliff Kingsbury had 1 winning season, went to the playoffs and got his brains beaten in, and then signed a fat contract extension the next month. I was at the combine when that happened. He was there. It was unbelievable. Nobody believed it. But guess what? Michael Bidwill said, you got us to the playoffs. That hasn't been the standard here. Here's an extension, Kime and Cliff Kingsbury. If I'm Jonathan Gannon and I want stability for my family, and if you're Monti Ossenfort, it's like, get me to the playoffs. Don't sacrifice what we're building. But come on, if we can go from 8-9 to 10-7 and get a playoff berth, and you got to ship a day 3 pick out, do it. There's no question in my mind you have to do it.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a wait. It's probably going to be something that's going to be on the burner until the trade deadline. Does it make sense for any of these teams that are sellers to trade off any of these pass rushers now instead of next week? Because I think that's where they're going to be able to kind of drive the price up. And if they can get anything that resembles above a day 3 pick, that's going to be their opportunity. Can they turn one of these teams into desperation mode? But I think if they don't, and Monty, is just right there to make the deal, I think that they'll be in a pretty good spot to at least add somebody to that defensive front 7 or elsewhere on this roster. I think that there's motivation to bring in some help right now. You can to get back to the pearl clutching, draft hoarding crowd out there. I think that Monti Ossenfort has already shown on draft day his ability to turn draft capital into more draft capital. There are bad organizations. At least half the league is run by people who have no business doing it. Looking at you, Rand Carthon, where you pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm willing to trade down a couple spots because I have conviction in my board, and then I'm going to be able to not only draft somebody a couple spots down, but I'd also like more capital. And he can replenish that 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round pick with one move in March and April. And I think that kind of gets overlooked. Like, okay, you'll feel uneasy because they have only 6 of their 7 draft picks, going in the offseason. But Monti has the ability to get back and get more picks and continue to be a draft and develop team.
We have an idea of what one of those pass rush available players could look like, what they could be dealt for. And I'm going to give you a sleeper candidate that was held out of practice today to also keep in mind right around the corner here on PHNX Cardinals. A lot of good stuff happening with this Cardinal team. Could they strike a deal? How about a deal from our friends at Circle K, America's thirst stop right now? Join the Inner Circle for free. It's the free new membership program. Save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. I love it. The weather's phenomenal here. I can't wait to hit the road. When we get some time off, take in the scenery, go on some road trips, some hiking. But I don't want to end up without a full gas tank, and I don't want to pay premium prices. That's why I'm a member of the Inner Circle. And then I like to just roam inside of a Circle K. How about a Polar Popper Froster anytime for 79 cents? They had that throughout the duration of the summer here in AZ. And they said, you know what, we're going to extend it because we love you. That's why your favorite snacks, deals, they're all available. Go to the discount section of Circle K. Find out how you can save money every single day. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Bo, visit CircleK.com for more details. Thirst has met its match with our friends at Circle K.
We talk about all that adventuring. Why not look cool while you're doing it as well with some nice premium polarized shades from our friends over at Shady Rays? That's right. They're ready for the season ahead. Cooler weather here in the Valley of the Sun. Get quality shades built to last. Our friends over at Shady Rays have you covered with those premium polarized shades that won't break the bank, firmly below $100. That's unheard of these days. He's like, hey, I want to get cool sunglasses. No, it's going to cost you a premium. No, not here. You're going to find hundreds of options to choose from. So you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style, maybe your partner's style, your kid's style. They got something for everyone. 300,000 people have spoken and rated it 5 stars online right now. If you don't love your shades, you can exchange them for a new pair, or they got the return worry-free within 30 days. No risk when you shop. Their team always has your back in it with the personal and fast support. Do yourself a favor. Exclusive for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving you the best deal of the season. Head to ShadyRays.com. Use the code PHNX for 35% off. That's 35% off Shady Rays. The shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people.
Drop a like on this video on a potential trade Wednesday. 500 likes is the goal for your boys of PHNX Cardinals. We mentioned it earlier. We've speculated on pass rush targets. Some pricing may be coming clear for certain targets among other teams, one of which did not practice today. Zadarius Smith, who was held out. He's the opposite edge rusher to Myles Garrett, over 30 years old. According to Jeremy Fowler on Twitter, this is from K1 since day one. Fraud Dove had this too. The Cleveland Browns
I made sure to not use Doves.
Yes, I appreciate that, Damon. We love K1 since day one. Really good day 3 pick for edge rusher Zadarius Smith. Smith missed practice today with an illness. A lot of that going around, the illness bug, as it relates to the trade deadline. So again, I think if you're the Arizona Cardinals, the Browns are leaking this out. Like, hey, we want a better pick than we've been offered. Give us a 4th, right? So no one has, in my mind, offered a 4th round pick yet. Well, if you look at the teams that are in contention for a pass rusher, well, by sheer math, the Cardinals are going to have a better 4th rounder than the Detroit Lions and some of these other teams. The question then becomes, would you give up the Cardinals' 4th rounder for Zadarius Smith? Before I give my answer, what say you, Bo Brack?
Well, it doesn't specify, is it a really good day 3 pick in 2025? Could it be a day 3 pick in 2026? And those are that's the negotiating that's going on right now. 2025, this upcoming draft or the draft after that. And we've seen players already, like Uche went for a 6th rounder in 2026, which is just that's nothing. That really is just peanuts as far as draft capital goes. So if that's just the ask, if that's the request, then like you should be consistently monitoring that, if not have made, your offer for Zadarius Smith and just awaiting to see if some bum team is trying to outbid that to add, Smith, who does have another year left on his contract beyond 2024. I think it's like $9.5 million. I think it actually costs more to get out from under his deal than it is to stick with it. And I think that that should be more appealing to the Arizona Cardinals. Like, can you help somebody not only in the interim, but in the future? And I know he's 32, but you got a young pass rush room. Like you've only got Zaven Collins legitimately under contract, and the rest, they're just babies. Like you got Xavier Thomas, you got BJ Ojulari with only a couple games under his belt. And then hopefully whoever you draft, in the first, second, or third rounds next year. I think that this just seems to be to fit the mold or, the profile of what the Cardinals should be barking down on the trade market.
Yeah, this doesn't appease the people, and, rightfully so, that, well, this isn't a piece for the future. This isn't a piece that we can tie ourselves to beyond 2025. And I don't know if that, outside of, a Harold Landry who's under contract, I don't know if that exists right now. And guess what? That's okay. Like the Cardinals are going to have, I checked again this morning, they're projected to have the third most cap space in the NFL entering the offseason, behind two teams, Washington and New England, that have rookie wage scale quarterbacks. So the Cardinals are going to be in a position to flood their team with free agents if they want, right? They got to get Trey McBride, a couple guys re-signed here. They opt for James and Budda Baker. We shall see. But like, if there's not an avenue to say like, hey, we're going to get a piece now and it's going to be Montez Sweat 2.0, we'll extend that player and it's an investment long-term. Like, of course, that would probably be Monti Ossenfort's preference, right? Get a jump start on free agency, help now, help later. But if you're just trading for a guy and he's here to do a job, like a hired mercenary, for lack of a better term, I'm sorry, like, welcome to the NFL. Like, I think we, as you mentioned it's the pearl clutching with the draft picks. Like, I don't care about draft picks on day 3 when my team is in first place for the first time since 2015 with a real chance to win the division. I know they flirted with first place in 2021, but you know what I'm saying? Like, right. Day 3 of the draft, there are complete lottery tickets. Like the money picks we know are 1 through 100. And I know Ossenfort and Dave Sears can make their mark on day 3, and good for them. And as my co-host said, you have a chance to trade down. I'm sure they will. Like, do yourself a favor.
Back-to-back drafts.
Yeah. You know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So I just feel like Zadarius Smith, if they came to me right now and they're like, hey, Johnny, we're going to give you Zadarius Smith. He's got 5 sacks this year, playing on a bad Browns team that rarely ever led with Deshaun Watson. Are you interested? Would you give up a 4th in 2025? Hell yeah. It's just like, okay, we'll deal with that later. Zadarius Smith, come help us sack Aaron Rodgers, who's 100 years old, and Caleb Williams, who completed, 10 passes last week? What bothers me, not to get too much off track, Bo, I don't want to be in a position for this show Monday and Tuesday next week. Let's say the Cardinals lose to the Bears this weekend. I don't want to go back to, well, then they're not buyers now. No, they're buyers right now, which means they need to be buyers beyond this game, even if they lose, because I think a lot of us can make the argument, if they lose, it could be partially because they didn't add a pass rusher. Like, if they add a pass rusher, it's got to be right now today, like when the show is live. They're not adding a guy, you would think, Thursday, Friday, that could play conceivably on Sunday for you. This is just not realistic. So I don't want to hear anybody out there saying, well, you know what? They didn't look great against the Bears, and that means at 4-5, they're not a viable option. They've been bumped to like 3rd place in the NFC West. Don't trade for anybody. If anybody says that, I'm going to call them out on this show because that's a joke. There are players being dealt before the trade deadline, well before. Like, go and make a move now, help your team.
Also, Zadarius can do the things like the versatility that they look from their outside linebackers. Like a guy like Uche, he was a one-trick pony. He's a guy that could only eat. Like, he really reminded me of a successful. Who was the kid we got out of Cincinnati? Majay Sanders, right? Yeah. Who just couldn't do much beyond maybe had a little bit of bend and had a speed rush. But yeah, I mean, I think Zadarius. We talked to our guy Baldy today. Look for that interview, by the way, here on PHNX Sports tomorrow. He's got some pass rush options or outside linebacker options for the Arizona Cardinals. Interesting names, but he can do what you need. I know 32 years old, but the pressures are there, the sacks are there. All would be leading the team immediately. And it's like, okay, like I joke, I made you almost throw hands at the same time at me in the airport talking about, Darius Robinson being an addition to this team. If it's the only addition and the team trying to like spoon feed you that, like, hey, but we made it, we made a trade we added Darius Robinson to the roster. But if you add Zadarius Smith or a player of that caliber with Darius Robinson, now you got something. Now you have something, I think, defensive front seven wise that can, on 3rd and 8, maybe you don't have to dial up an exotic blitz like they did against Tua to get off the field. Maybe you can get, like, this offense showed at least this past weekend, like you can get off the field, they can make some plays and put up some points.
Damon, let's see the trade speculation of names that we broke down yesterday. There's a name I want to highlight, held out of practice today with a foot, but we'll see what that ends up being. Jadeveon Clowney did not practice today. I think it's all but a foregone conclusion. The Athletic reported this as well. The Panthers are going to trade Jadeveon Clowney, whether it's today or next Monday, Tuesday. Jadeveon Clowney, who had 9.5 sacks last year, is going to be available. I would absolutely take him. Azeez Ojulari, I'd be shocked if he wasn't traded. I don't care what the Giants say publicly. They have 2 edge rushers under contract. They need ammunition to get a quarterback. They're not keeping Azeez Ojulari. I don't take anybody seriously who throws that out there. And then you've got Zadarius Smith, who we mentioned, who, again, you're trading Amari Cooper, like Zadarius Smith at 32 years old. You're keeping. I saw a report from ESPN that they're going to trade Greg Newsome potentially for a ham sandwich. So I think all these names are available. Like I know all these names are available. It just comes down to, can the Cardinals find a comfort zone based on price and maybe cap space and cooperation and communication with these teams? Because when is the big shoe going to fall? And you know what I'm talking about. When is Detroit going to make their move, Bo?
Yeah.
When is Detroit going to come out swinging? Who do they have in mind? Because clearly it's not a matter of if they do it, but when.
Yeah. I mean, you got Dan Campbell up there having fun with the media, just, big, crap eating grin, like almost like they got a deal that they're just waiting to, cross the T's and dot the I's on. But like, it feels like there's opportunities in deals to be a deal to at least be made. And, if I'm looking at it and I'll go back on this, like I think Zadarius in Ojulari, like I want the famous Ojulari pass rushing brothers together on this team. Like I want that to come to fruition. And like, that's a guy that he won't get the same respect in New York because of what you mentioned. They've already got 2 guys that they've invested more than a premium on as far as the draft capital to get Brian Burns and then the contract that he signed and then where they drafted Thibodeau at Oregon a couple of years ago in the top 5. Like there's just, it doesn't make, like the Cardinals would be like, we value you. You're going to be one of our top pass rushers. We're going to pay you what you would get on the market and then some. And also you get to play with your brother. Like it seems like that's the best move you can make.
Yeah. Again, can you get him under contract? I think you could. You have the money. If I'm Azeez Ojulari, like I look at the Cardinals' available cap space. I can go live in Scottsdale. I like the sound of that. My brother's here for at least 2 more years. I mean, there are some. Jonathan Gannon has been known to make pass rushers, Hassan Reddick, et cetera, get them to have their best years of their career. I am patiently awaiting to give Monti Ossenfort his flowers on this show, and he's got T-minus 5 days to make it happen. Because fair or not, if we get to next Tuesday, other players are dealt, and the Cardinals set out the trade deadline, Monti Ossenfort becomes the scapegoat and the culprit for the Cardinals potentially not succeeding in a year where they, by the way, have the 3rd best quarterback in the NFL per QBR right now.
Well, let's talk about motivation, right? If he's motivated to make a deal, I think he's going to make a deal because this is a guy that's worked actually up against deadlines pretty well.
How could you not be motivated? Let me ask you that.
Just as far as what the market is yielding,
I turn on the game tape. I'm motivated. We watch this team every week. You watch the All-22. My eyes are burning when they rush 4. How can you not be? I don't want to hear about motivation. If he's not motivated to add to this pass rush group, he shouldn't be the GM.
Yeah, well, I mean, those are strong words. I mean, I think he's shown when he's been up against deadlines, he's made the right decision, whether it's to cut ties and just straight up release DeAndre Hopkins because, what he would have held on the roster cap wise and eating that chunk, or getting Isaiah Simmons out of town for what people called a tanking move when it was just to get that player off the roster, to get Dobbs in here, even though it was too late, but you got him finally on the roster, and you didn't go into the regular season with a catastrophic quarterback room. I think he's done pretty well. And then of course what we've seen on the clock in the draft. So I think he works very well within deadlines. And if there's a move to be made, I think he won't hesitate.
Like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports. Again, the goal is 500 likes. Didi asking, Bo, would you give up a 3rd round pick right now for Azeez Ojulari?
A 4th round pick?
A 3rd round pick?
Probably not.
Yeah, that's.
You want me to say why? I mean, he's not under contract. He's in a, he is playing next to, I think he's benefiting playing next to Dexter Lawrence, playing with some guys who are more the vocal point of that pass rush. I think he's a really good player. I think he would be the best pass rusher that the Cardinals would have. But a 3rd round pick, and you can go and say, well, they took a blocking tight end, or they took a cornerback who's not playing. That's they had 4 3rd round picks last year. They had 7 top 100 picks, and the reason he didn't take anybody that was a pass rusher, point to me like who's actually being impacting the game at that position from this draft class. He just didn't see somebody worthy of selecting.
Yeah, and the year before they got Garrett Williams in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
And he's arguably their best defensive player this year. So,
God, did you hear the stuff from JG today about Garrett Williams?
Holster it, because
I
want to talk about JG. I want to talk about, why is Darius Robinson? What's going on? I thought he was back. He didn't practice today. That and more coming up on PHNX Cardinals. So much going on right now. So much going on with our friends at Bet365. Never ordinary. That's because they've got 90 million users worldwide. We've got Holder fold the line later in the show. We're getting gross. If you've seen my pick, you know what's coming. The Arizona Cardinals bouncing between a point and a half favorite against the Chicago Bears. You can dabble on that right now. Sign up right now with Bet365. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Deposit $10 and choose one of 2 offers. Right now, when you sign up with Bet365, the bet and get offer, place a mere $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. Or, see a lot of people going big on the betting apps. I appreciate that. And Bet365 is going to hook you up. How about a first bet safety net offer by placing a bet up to $1,000? If your qualifying bet loses, you receive those match refund in bonus bets. No questions asked, but you got to download Bet365 right now. Again, you like the Cards over under this weekend, you like the money line, maybe parlay it with a couple other games, a couple really tasty, I think, underdog plus money bets that we're going to talk about later in the show. Download Bet365, bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Have to be 21 years and older, physically located here in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov, Bo, for more info.
Unlike Johnny and Holder fold, not a sure thing. Our friends over Empire today are a very sure thing as far as upgrading your flooring. Quick, professional installation with that price match guarantee. Think you can find it for less somewhere around town? Go right for it. But you are gambling, and it is not going to turn out in your favor, just like Johnny in our segment coming up later. But Empire today lets you shop at home with convenience, and they've got their professionals ready to help you get you the flooring that you need, carpeting or hardwood, whatever it may be in your condo, in your house, whatever your dwelling may be. Check it out right now and schedule a free in-home estimate today. All our listeners receive $350 off when they use the promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. See EmpireToday.com for more details.
All right. So the Arizona Cardinals released their first practice report, injury pertaining, that they did all week, Bo. You were out there. Some promising news as with regard to one Jonah Williams. What can you tell us?
Jonah Williams, before practice, Jonathan Gannon said, we'll see him out there. voicing that he'll be designated return. He was that, and he was already kind of warming up, getting ready with the first team offensive line. Jonah Williams, we talked to him at his locker after practice. He's felt good. He went kind of through his ups and downs of receiving the news of the injury, and then also the relief that it wasn't season ending. And he's been chomping at the bit and doing everything within his power to get back. And he was out there. He felt good. And, Kyler Murray, when asked about it too, he was basically said the first half, he didn't feel any pressure from the right side of the line. Like, I don't think he's throwing anybody who's been playing there and holding it down to the tune of no sacks over the last couple of weeks under the bus. But I mean, what he meant was it was a wall over there on the right side against Buffalo. And Jonah Williams was a part of that. But unfortunately went out with the knee injury, and luckily it wasn't season injury. So I think that there could be a chance he could be back as early as this week. I think they could have their starting right tackle back. I mean, there's still a long way to go. He was limited today. The other right tackle and Grandpa and Kelvin Beachum, this has kind of become his veteran day off, like the first day of practice each week. He's been nursing hamstring, groin injuries. So, I mean, you might even have a fresher Jonah Williams than even a Kelvin Beachum coming back. And Williams was the one with the more significant injury.
Good news for the Cardinals offense that played its best game in a month on Sunday. Let's talk about the flip side defensively, where we thought maybe a boost would be coming. Darius Robinson did not practice again. So let's walk through the timeline, Bo. Yeah. It was roughly 2 weeks ago where the Cardinals opened up, like Jonah Williams today, the IR practice portion for Darius Robinson. He had one practice at that time, then they scaled him back, and then subsequently had the passing of his mother. He missed 2 weeks with an absence there, and then also really just trying to heal up. So then this week, Jonathan Gannon makes a comment like, we're going to, get ratcheted up, or I'm putting words in his mouth, ramp it up. And yet ramping it up, I guess, means not today, maybe a different day. What can you tell us more? Is this more Darius is still dealing with a family situation? Is it health permitted? Do we even know?
Well, I mean, according to the injury report, like last week when Darius was on the injury report, it had the designation of, the calf, but also had, the personal, the non-football related stuff, which, indicated he was at home doing what he should be doing and was grieving with family members and everything that went into the tragedy of losing his mother.
Of course.
Today, the first injury report was, it just strictly had calf. So, where Jonathan Gannon, after a day of practicing and then not practicing after that, and hasn't since, said that he experienced some discomfort. And I think we've got some lingering effects from that. I think the issue is here, like he practiced on that Wednesday 3 weeks ago and then hasn't practiced since. So like there's not going to be Darius is there tomorrow and then is in the lineup or in the rotation on Sunday, despite him being on the active roster. I think he's going to be inactive. Hopefully he'll get out there this week, but JG said something today, like procedurally we activated him because otherwise he goes away for the entire season. He's stuck on IR. So they did that, which gives him the ability to come back at one point, but is he going to come back as early as this week? That seems like it's a long shot.
Yeah. I do feel like the longer this goes, the greater the likelihood that the first time I think we're going to see Darius Robinson is after the bye in Seattle, potentially. That would give him 3 weeks of potential post, his absence for personal reasons, and then maybe a couple 2.5 weeks of on-field practice. Maybe they just feel more comfortable with that. And again, like, who am I to judge? The most important thing is obviously Darius's mental health and his physical health, right? And then, the Cardinals, even if Darius had played this weekend, I think you're looking at a very, very marginal kind of, snap count. Whereas maybe they're saying like, we're not going to roll Darius out there until he can be a key contributor and we need to see it in practice. So I trust their judgment. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and pound the table. This is ridiculous. Johnny Newton, look what he's doing. You're playing the long game with the 27th overall pick. Yeah. But I do think that that's what emphasizes. I know they play technically different positions. a need for a trade before the deadline to be able, like, you got to get, in my opinion, one of these 2 wins before the bye to be 5-5 at the bye at worst. And the Cardinals are favored in both these games now to put yourself in a position to have a winning record and to be in the playoff mix. Like, can't lose both of these games. That goes without saying. And if you know Darius is a couple of weeks away still, and this is a procedural move, and now you're burning a roster spot, go get somebody now. I'm shocked beyond belief that we're going to roll into Sunday, and it's going to be LJ Collier and Ben Stilley and, Roy Lopez.
Returned today.
Yeah, I saw that.
Good news. And I mean, it's crazy as, I didn't expect to ever be saying this, but Damon did. I mean, he's the head of the Rolo Hive, the Roy Lopez fan club here. I mean, he's been one of their more consistent guys. He wasn't there on the win against Miami on Sunday. Yeah. He's trending towards playing. Also, Naquan Jones, who left Sunday, who's played well. He was practicing today. So
they're probably pretty comfortable with that unit, as you talk through it there. But again, like I just feel like their defensive line.
It's only frustrating with the excitement level of you want to see a talented player play football, because everything else, like, you understand it. You got a calf injury, it's the tragedy.
Like,
it's all like he's facing an unbelievable amount of adversity his first season, and I think the frustration level is like there's the cloak of not knowing and the gamesmanship that goes on with organizations week in and week out. And, I think that's where, fans are like, is this guy going to play? But, him being activated, that points to you're going to see him at some point this season. And I think that the true thing is, like, they would have designated him return. It didn't feel like he was close. The unfortunate thing is he must have suffered a setback in his first practice back.
Loso, where are the super chats? They are coming up, as well as comments from the franchise quarterback, Kyler Murray. We're going to hear from he and Marv pertaining to that dub and looking ahead to Chicago this week. That's coming up right around the corner on PHNX Cardinals. So much good stuff going on with our many presenting partners. And one of my favorites, you know it well, if you've come to any of our watch parties, it's Gila River Resorts and Casinos. How about our friends at the Wild Horse Pass location? Just the best experience the Valley has to offer. I got a bunch of people coming into town for the Chicago game, a bunch of people from the Midwest, and they're like, Johnny, where should we stay? I'm telling them Gila River, man. Prime location, Wild Horse Pass, among their many locations, perfect proximity to the East Valley. You want to go downtown Gilbert, downtown Old Town Chandler. You want to go to the stadium, obviously, in Glendale. And then if you want to hang out at Gila River, it's like a staycation. 4,500 slots, table games, right? Prime A Shula Steakhouse, tremendous rooftop views. It's exactly where I want to be on and off the field. They're going to be hosting events with PHNX Sports throughout the course of the rest of this year and beyond. Suns just had a banner opening week in the NBA watch party last Friday. Cardinals, we are back in just a couple of weeks. We're out the next couple of weeks because we got some home games, but then I promise we will be back. How about this? Speaking of back, this coming Friday, earn entries for the Ferrari Fortunes every Friday, 7 p.m. Winners are drawn for cash prizes and free bonus plays. The grand finale will take place this Friday at Wild Horse Pass, where one lucky winner will receive, how about this, a Ferrari 488 GTB. How about it? You do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more info.
Imagine Damon just rolling around in a Ferrari. Like, what does this guy do? Like,
he deserves
it. It's a podcast. Speaking of which, you're talking about the cool home or away game, or it's the home game away game watch parties at Gila. Yeah. My God. Home is at Chicken and Pickle. We love Chicken and Pickle. It's actually, we're going to host one of our PHNX trivia events. That's coming up real quick. We're working on the trivia as we speak. Got some great cards, questions coming your way. Sign up for the free Cardinals tailgates at Chicken and Pickle. Join us this Sunday with the time change. Kickoff now at 2 local. You can get out there and enjoy and experience all that Chicken and Pickle has to offer. Spend $30 or more, and Chicken and Pickle will validate your parking and it's validated for Cardinals home game day games only. You got to check it out right now. Say goodbye to interrupting your game for fun and food. As far as pickleball, and you can do it all at Chicken and Pickle. Head to chickenandpickle.com to see all the fun you can have at their Glendale location.
Love our friends at Chicken and Pickle. Love our friends in the chat. Drop a like on this video. We got super chats. Hold or fold the line right
We got
around the
1,000
corner.
people watching, Johnny, and it's a about 50-50 split. All those on X watching this right now, jump on over, hang out with us. The chat, it's flowing over here. Everybody's having a blast. This is a great Cardinals community, chopping it up. Get over here, get into the chat. It's unreal. So just wanted to shout that each and every one of you. Give yourself a like for tuning in and being a part of this team at 4-4 atop the NFC West division.
We've highlighted the defense, rightfully so, ahead of this trade deadline, but it's the offense that really can take this team, Bo, to new heights in the second half of this season. And the conductor of this offense, when Kyler Murray spoke to you and the rest of the Phoenix media today, and just loving the vibes from the franchise quarterback, playing his best football to date, third in QBR, and I just feel like that confidence is oozing out in number one for AZ.
It really is. I think that the entire team's feeling it. If you missed our interview with Michael Wilson yesterday, you got that feeling as well. But look, 3 out of the last 4 games, they've had comeback victories. Kyler Murray on his team's ability to win late in games.
I think it goes back to the culture and the makeup of the team. No fight or no quit in us. 60 minutes. Continue to believe in each other and understand. We're going to get that stop. We're going to score. We're going to score when we need to. Obviously, yes, we would like to come out and dominate from the jump, which is something we got to be better about. But it's also good to know that this team is resilient as hell. So it's good.
Team is resilient as hell. They've been able to get it done last 3 out of 4 weeks. Now, the biggest thing that was on display was the connection between Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. Here's K1 on Marv.
I do. I feel like that was a big game for him, just confidence-wise. Obviously, seeing Ramsey on the other side, a good defense, one of the best defenses in the league statistically. For him to be able to go out there and have that type of game, as a rookie is very big. Any of those, like, those games are huge for a rookie, and I think, it's sky's the limit for him. So to have a game like that, to be able to build upon that is huge.
Now, Marvin Harrison Jr., on why or where he think he's progressing in his rookie season. This is off the heels of a week ago saying he wasn't what he envisions. What a difference a week makes.
I think I'm just playing faster. I make decisions faster. I'm kind of reading the defense. I think that's part of my preparation as well. It's just my film study throughout the week, getting an idea what the defense likes to do, allowing myself to go out there and play fast. I think that's something I've gotten better at each week. Miami was a tough challenge. So they did a lot of different things defensively than teams in the past. So I had a lot of coverages to worry about, but I did my best to go out there, just play fast, win my one-on-one matchups.
Remember when people on Twitter called Marvin slow? Remember that? Remember when that was a thing? And then he literally torched Jalen Ramsey out of frame. Sorry to interrupt you. I cannot believe that was a thing we had to endure for like a week and a half. Oh, Marvin can't separate. Look at this. He ran against, insurance salesmen in the Big Ten. This is the NFL. It's like, what are you? Continue.
Well, you've got knuckleheads like Michael Florio saying, when he doesn't go and tested the combine, like maybe he's hiding, maybe he's a 4.6 guy. And you're like, are you an idiot?
Mm-hmm.
And that feeds the fire. And when he came out and was slow as far as production out of the gates, people turn to that, unfortunately. And they're just, fueling the casuals that don't know ball. But Marv certainly does. And I asked him while he's at his locker today, it feels like being out there when he sees his quarterback, Kyler Murray, get into the rhythm like he did in the second half. And he pinpointed one thing that really blew him away.
I think the most impressive play really is that the one he ran the ball on a third down to kind of make them use their last time out, I think. That way we just kneel the ball the rest of the game and kick the last second field goal. Not many quarterbacks can make that play, to put the ball in the quarterback's hands and say, hey, go make a play on the ground. That's special.
It is special because, again, like Cardinals have, a roster where I still think they're very top heavy. And so when you watch Kyler and Marv and Trey McBride and what they did on Sunday, that's how it has to look. Like the Cardinals can't lean on James Conner every week, approaching 30 years old. He's still a great player. Like this is the formula, Drew Petzing. The formula has to be feed your elite playmakers. Like Kyler Murray is an elite player right now in the NFL. Marvin Harrison Jr. should be a top 10 receiver in the NFL by the end of this year. We just got done talking about how good Trey McBride is. Like I don't ever want to be sitting here doing a post-game show and it's like, you know what, Marv and Trey, they really didn't get involved this week. It's like, okay, that's a losing recipe, in my opinion. Like, go down with your best players. Because I'm going to tell you what, the Rams, the Niners, your contenders in this division, there's not a game that goes by that Kittle and Ayuk in his prime and Debo and now Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua are not part of their game plan to score points. I know that they, Drew Petzing, we didn't have the clip yesterday, said, nothing really changed. That's BS. We all know it changed. They simplified some things and they reaped the benefits because of it.
Let's get to Kyler here. One last clip from K1 as far as getting the ball into his playmakers' hands.
I think it was just giving them chances. I told y'all last week, I felt like, I love the group that we have, and I love the playmaking ability. I feel like they haven't really been able to showcase, as much as I would like for them to showcase it with the ball in their hands. I'm just super confident in those guys, and I know the work that they put in. I know they're capable of. So we gotta, get the ball in their hands, and I think we did that Sunday.
Pretty good to be sitting here and hearing how they did get involved and how they want to continue to get these playmakers more and more involved, whether it's, MHJ, Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, Zay Jones, Trey McBride, James Conner, really an embarrassment of riches. And then you got on the flip side of this, the quarterback from the losing team last week who had a pivotal botch snap. He clapped back, Tua did, saying it's not as easy try and catch that ball too. He said it's not as easy as it looked like sitting down on your couch eating chips. So Tua, as a professional quarterback in the NFL,
I'm sorry,
chirping the guys because he can't catch a run-of-the-mill shotgun snap.
Is that what he was referring to? It's not easy. Kyler Murray literally had a ball batted out of his hand by 6'8" Calais Campbell, picked it up, and then threw it for an incomplete pass to save that play. Tua was asking that entire game, for those of you watching, and we were in attendance, to turn the ball over. Like, right. He was begging the Cardinals to take the ball away from him. It would have been sickening had the Cardinals not. He had multiple fumbles, multiple drop snaps. He should have had an interception to Jalen Thompson. Like, I like Tua. Maybe take a beat, Tua. Like, he played okay. You can't die on that. You single-handedly let the Cardinals back in that game, Tua.
You're gonna go after the people sitting on Twitter and probably eating some chips and drinking some sugary sodas, but that you can't catch a simple shotgun snap that basically put. I mean, Jonathan Gannon didn't believe in momentum, but that created momentum for the Cardinals. That turned into, if it weren't for a failed 2-point conversion, that was nearly a 10-point play.
Yeah, it's like Tua. I can't make that play. Is that the point you're trying to make? Like, Johnny and Bo couldn't.
I think you can make that. I honestly think all three of us in bulk of people in the chat can make that play.
I appreciate you, propping me up there. It's hard to grab an NFL football. Like, I've told you this story where, like, we've been on the sideline.
It went through his hands. He just whiffed on it.
I would have to, like, almost scoot back and try to field it.
Johnny, you're being too modest, man. You can catch a football from that snap from the center.
We might have to do an exercise in the off season to put this to the test here.
Everybody, are you blown away that is he being too much of a humble Johnny right now?
I've just kind of wanted to refrain from this entire conversation.
The balls
run away and hide.
The NFL balls are very wet and very sweaty, and it's hard. I probably definitely have to have gloves on. If you're watching with us on Samsung, jump on over to gophnx.com where the conversation continues. Super chats, hold or fold the line. Plus, become a diehard right now. GoPHNX.com. Running our special for how much longer? I don't know, but grab it now. Limited time intro offer, $48. Going to get you a free piece of merch that equates to just $4 a month. We have welcomed across ALLCITY. I think I can say this, like a ton of new diehards, like a ton. Yeah. We're so fired up right now. All the new peeps in the Discord, all the new peeps rocking the gear. This is the perfect time to jump in. Craig Morgan, get all of his phenomenal. He's the best writer in the Valley. Check out his work at gophnx.com. 100% unlocked. Chop it up in the Discord. We're in for a special season. It feels like. Why not celebrate that with a coup de grace diehard membership for $48? Sign me up, Bo.
Absolutely. And Craig's got a brand new article going to hit tomorrow morning. So get in now so you can read all about the Cardinals potential inserting Jonah Williams into the lineup. Got some great insight as far as Jonah Williams' return to the Arizona Cardinals. Go PHNX.com. Sign up to become a diehard today so you have access to it all.
I love how I try to be humble, and then I would expect maybe some support in the chat. And the chat's like, oh yeah, small hands, Johnny. And it's just like, come on now. I'm not on this chat saying like I can palm a basketball.
I just can't believe you won't give yourself enough credit to just catch a shotgun snap with two hands. It's it.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably do it. I'd be nervous though in front, and it's loud, but yeah, I could probably do it.
I just rewatched it, and you guys can call me like a homer or whatever, but that was snapped hard as hell. That was a really fast snap. I think that would be pretty tough to catch.
You got punters that catch harder balls than that,
bro. Like the punters in the NFL, like they're big time athletes. Like, come on now.
Bo, someone put it in the chat here, but you're notorious for dropping.
You're who Tua was talking to, Bo. Now I'm coming to grips with this.
I had a phone to my ear the first time. I'm one of two as far as catches and targets from Kyler Murray.
Yeah, none of us have seen that. None of us can confirm that. Let's jump in to your super chats here ahead of hold or fold the line. Let's get to Jason. $5. Oh my goodness. Jersey Watch Day 188. Nothing new to report. Hashtag hold the line. Hashtag there's no reason why you shouldn't be a diehard by now. Great rationale. And again, can't get a jersey, but you can shop the number 18 collection. Bo, do you think we get resolution on this jersey situation before the season's over?
With no insight whatsoever, just really, really like irresponsible speculation. No. Let's go to 90s Poppy here. $2. We'll get that now and next. No love for Kime, but he made big trades. Come on, Monty.
That's the best thing he did. He got Chandler Jones and DeAndre Hopkins, two of his best players for pennies on the dollar. And then Kime could go out and get a Dwight Freeney late, but again, how much of that was Bruce Arians? Like, I know Monti Ossenfort is a shrewd negotiator. He needs to bend a little bit here. Like, you might have to lose a trade on the surface to then sit and celebrate a postseason berth with your team in January. Like, no, come on, give your team something to root for here.
Libertarian Sasquatch 199. I always worry this is a half-assed. Well, we tried.
100%. That was my concern when I saw that. Hey, you know what? We made an effort in the play. I don't know why he's talking like a 1930s gangster, but hey, we made an effort. Just nothing materialized. We like the guys in our locker room. I definitely think, Bo, you're onto something where Darius was like our deadline acquisition. How many teams can say they got a first-round pick at the deadline?
Here's not a 30s gangster. That's the worst one.
Here's the reality. They need a pass rusher and Darius. It's not one or the other. They need both. Yeah. They need both. Sure.
They've had 4 players that they were going to rely upon go down. B.J. Ojulari, Dennis Gardeck, Justin Jones, Bilal Nichols. 4.
And how good are a couple of those guys? Some of those guys shouldn't have been stars to begin with.
Red C, $5. Going over the contract and recent production from Zarius Smith. I'm going to elect to pass on that one. Respectfully, of course.
You know who's going to pass? Caleb Williams from a clean pocket this Sunday to Red C. So I know I don't want to hear about contracts, dead money. Cardinals are going to be lighting money on fire next offseason. I'm not trying to save Monti Ossenfort. Respectfully, cap cash right now. Go out and spend some money, please.
Oh, man.
He's got 5 sacks. He's got 5 sacks.
$5 in pressures, more pressures too. And has the ability to cover all the things, most of the things they want from their outside linebackers. Loso's $5. I think Bo isn't allowed to spend money at home. That's why he has excuses for money. Man. I know, Bo. There's a great deal on Prime Day. He's like, put away the computer.
Honey, I was thinking about taking a boys' weekend. Nope, not happening. Give me that debit card. Give me that Desert Financial debit card right now.
What's it's all store brand stuff for me.
Hand-me-downs.
Yeah, it's all store brand cola for me. Dr. Peeper, whatever. MD.
Bo only wears free stuff he gets from PHNX Sports. That's
true.
The exclusive insight to his wardrobe.
That's right. The most frugal of the bunch, no doubt about it. Josh,
did you say Dr. Pieper?
I don't know. I was thinking.
Sounds like he should be in prison.
Dr. Pieper. It does sound like a dirty man, and you should watch him if he's ever around you. Josh, $4.99. Since I've become a diehard, we're 2-0. So everyone, give me thanks and praises. Everybody, you're welcome.
My son, Josh, just a shout out, really liked your avatar, and you said that I got owned on my own show. So congratulations, Josh, for that one.
Your son probably understands that happens on a daily basis.
I was going to say, Johnny gets owned on his own show like every day.
I don't let him watch the show. Z Warlock 505, $5. Best sports podcast. Love you, fellas. Well, we appreciate that. And again, big thanks to everybody came out over the weekend to South Beach. And we're 2-0 since our guy Josh became a diehard. We're 1-0 since we took a trip out east on the roads. We might want to keep it going, get the whole gang. I just hit up all the road games from now on. Why not?
Ben, the Cardinals fan, $1.99. Monty is cooking. Carice Tunga will have 50 sacks.
There was a point. Wasn't there a point, Damon? We were sitting there watching the game Sunday, and it's like, are the Cardinals going to have enough defensive linemen to finish this game? Naquan Jones left the game.
Yeah.
And it was like Ben Stilley, who literally hadn't played a game all year, practice squad Ben Stilley, who's fine. He's been around. Chris Tonga, and then whom? Like Dante Stills?
Yeah.
I mean, like it was looking
LJ
pretty
Collier.
dire. Yeah, LJ Collier. It was like, how can they even field a team? And you would think, based on that rationale, well, of course they're going to get somebody. We're sitting here Wednesday. Nope, same guys. They actually signed. We didn't even cover this yesterday because it was so sad. They signed a bunch of no-names to their practice squad to fill up those spots. And we're just like, people were speculating because they released a couple guys off practice squad. Well, who are they going to demote so we have an opportunity on the 53-man roster? There's a bunch of speculation on the Twitter streets. It was the biggest nothing burger, respect to those guys.
That's on you. That's on you.
I didn't say that. I didn't do that.
That the speculation on the streets was that practice squad openings were gonna translate to a big time trade. Max Crosby and Myles Garrett riding in on their steeds to save this thing.
Do you even know the guys they signed? Do you even remember them off the top?
Goodlow and but 99.9% of practice squad signings are trash signings. Welcome to the team. Welcome to the Valley. We're excited for you. Hope you take advantage of this opportunity, guys.
We might need to rename if Monti Ossenfort strikes out this trade deadline. We might need to rename him Monty Practice Squad Ossenfort. That's what we might need to rename him because we
need to workshop that a little bit. But I don't disagree. Josh, $10, and then we'll get to your buddy Kyler Plummer. You guys are best friends. Pretty sure they are going to make 2 moves to build a small amount of depth on the edge. Also, Rollis being sneaky, changing Miles' wiki page. D-Rob will probably be limited tomorrow and Friday. Josh, with the insight, I hope so. I hope you're right. I hope D-Rob does make his way back onto the practice field.
Like that sleeve, Josh. Thinking about getting one myself. Kyler Plummer, $5. I tune in, and first thing I hear is JV talking about wet, sweaty balls. No diddy, laugh out loud. Listen, we were at the red and white scrimmage, and I attempted to grab an NFL football that was really wet and could barely palm it and had to use 2 hands to throw it back to Keitrell Clark, and it was embarrassing. So
yeah. Jason saying I'm only 500 as far as my my catches. That hurts. It's hurtful. Hurtful things are being said. Speaking of way less than 500, older fold, are we going to get into this? How about that transition?
Rip the Band-Aid off. Do it.
That was fire, Bo.
Look at Moneybags, Damon, and Moneybags Bo. Look at clear eyes, but full heart. Johnny Venerable here. He is at -8 units in 8 weeks of NFL play. I'm 2.75 for audio listeners, and Damon is a gaudy 3.8 units up on the season.
So for those of you who don't know, I get real gross this segment because I like to take big swings. We got 1,100 people watching. I go big dogs here. They have not done me well. And the unfortunate part is most of my picks, the conclusion is like, we know that they're not going to win like at halftime. So I have been like notoriously wrong. I'm going real gross and real sloppy this week, though. Like it could be.
I don't know what it is, but Damon, like I didn't even get in the door, and he's like, this pick is something else from Johnny Venerable. Right. We're gonna save Johnny's for last. We gotta leave that on just conjure up. People are going to be, so people, can you confirm they'll be grossed out? They'll be shocked.
Yeah,
by this
but
pick?
our picks are on the same graphic, so we can't like.
Are they?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Why don't you come out with yours, and then Damon says his.
Okay.
No graphic until the end, then I'll debut mine.
All right. Well, let's look at last week real quick. I took Commanders money line.
Oh, congrats! Hey, great job.
Mary Dub.
I was confident all the way through.
It was a great call.
Yep. I mean, I just knew they were going to find a way, and boy, they did.
Was it ever in doubt?
No, never. That game was in hand the entire way. Plus 125. You're welcome through all those that tailed. And we're just continuing to build our stack here. Damon's luckily didn't hit, even though we all held together. We thought that this was just the bet of the week. Tyreek Hill anytime touchdown, plus 140. He did not make a trip to the end zone, and then
we were sitting at Margaritaville on the Hollywood Beach Boardwalk, slumming it. We're the last people. They tried to kick us out. The three of us, Craig Morgan and Coach Starks, and I'm just watching from afar the Cowboys just to get boat raced by George Kittle. That game, Dak Prescott had the sorriest game-winning drive, nothing burger in NFL history, 4 straight incomplete passes. Like, the Cowboys are dead. They've never been more dead. Like, that was a game. The Cowboys are coming off a bye. The Niners are beat up. The Niners own the Cowboys. I said, let's give them one opportunity. The Cowboys are an absolute joke. So I did say that was the lock of the year. Unfortunately, that blew up in my face.
My bet, I mean, it was a tough one. I think there was a play there where Tua hit Tyreek down the sideline. Thought that could have gone for 6. There was an underthrow on another one. Thought that could have gone for 6. It could have hit, but we left with something. We left with the Cardinals dub.
Some people believe that the charity that the NFL is running by just giving Jim Harbaugh and the Los Angeles Chargers wins each and every week by their dreadful schedule. This week it is in Cleveland, taking on the Browns that are going to continue to ride the famous Jameis wave by being able to resurrect that offense. Nick Chubb is back. Jameis is ready to roll. Yeah. And I've got the Browns. Wow. Home dogs at plus 105, coming off their big dub over the Ravens last week. Here's what I think. I think Jameis and the offense can get to the 20s, and like the Chargers, outside of beating up on the Saints last week, I don't think they can get there.
I don't like that pick for one reason. I don't want the Browns to think we're in it. We beat the Chargers. We beat the Ravens back-to-back weeks. We're not trading anybody. I don't hate it from a betting standpoint, though. I think, like, Jameis, to me, like, he was obvious the clear starter. We wanted him to be Kyler Murray's backup this offseason, this training camp, when like all those Brown backups were potentially available. Like, we were hammering that point home. I just feel like the Chargers, to me, are so well coached. I like Stefanski fine, but I do think Jameis, that was an anomaly last week against the Ravens. I think he had a big emotional return. They just loved it. Wasn't Deshaun. I think Jameis reverts back to a pumpkin this week. I think you get multiple turnovers. Chargers defense is still top 5 in the NFL. I know the Chargers schedule isn't great. They're not a great.
It's the worst. It's one of the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah. I'm going to fold that. I do not think the Browns.
The Browns offense with anybody but Deshaun Watson can move the ball. Like, did you see like 6 of the 7 300-yard performances last couple of years have been Joe Flacco and Jameis Winston, and one never was it Deshaun Watson. I mean, I think Jameis, I don't know. I believe he had 4 touchdowns. He was a player of the week.
I love Njoku. He's a great player. And listen, the Browns are an easy team to root for. I just don't think Jameis is going to do it back-to-back weeks. Great defenses, Chargers and Ravens. He's going to tear apart both of them? I don't think so.
Ravens even's kind of suspect. I'm also going to fold, Bo. Sorry about that. But I just think, I don't know. I'm kind of with Johnny. Jameis, flash in the pan. Andy Dalton did the same thing to the Raiders when he first came in a substitute appearance, juiced up the boys. They won their first week with him playing. Then Jameis week 2. I think it falls off a little bit more of a cliff. I also find that kind of the discrepancy of how those situations are talked about. Like, like everybody's like, Jameis won his first start back. Like, where's he going to start next year? And then people, Andy Dalton, he does the same thing, and it's like, hello, human resources. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and fold that pick.
You guys just disgust me.
All right,
Whatever.
Damon, Dawg, keep our party moving here.
I am picking the chalkiest, grossest, most rat line of all rat lines you've ever seen in your entire life.
I know,
and
what
that is
this
Texans money line.
I'm already telling you, I'm holding with you on this one.
Texans money line at plus 110. Why is that the line? Why are they plus money? The Jets are 2-6. They're horrific. They're the joke of the sport. They're always the joke of the sport. The Texans have CJ Stroud at quarterback. Don't understand why that's the line. Might be just completely going for the cheese here, but we're doing it. Texans money line. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm with you. I do get the sense, Joshua. It might be a trap, but Damon, I'm going to say this. I'm going to pull the knife that you put into my back just a few moments ago out, and I will stand there in unison with you, and we will hold together.
Any concern over the fact they are out of receivers for Houston? They don't have any wideouts left. Stephon Diggs out for the year, torn ACL. Nico Collins hurt. Tank Dell's not 100%. Like Joe Mixon looked good, and they got that kind of tight end. He's fine. Like CJ Stroud, like
better than what the Patriots were rolling out there last week.
Okay, that's fair. I think I will hold with you because I think Houston's defense is going to mollywop, specifically Will Anderson Jr., the tackles for the Jets, who, like Aaron Rodgers, are old and slow. So I'm with you. Again, like, we'll see how Vegas turns out, but I'm ready for them to quit this week, to come to Arizona, and then big time no-show that game. So I will hold with you as well, even though it's slightly above plus money. But you know what? You've earned it to where you just keep getting safe layups the rest of the year, where some of us have to take big swings, the biggest of swings here on hold or fold the line.
Some may say the biggest of all swings, like an Aaron Judge size swing.
Well, he just hit a bomb in the Yankees game. Let's take a look.
There you go.
Panthers money line plus 290, hosting the New Orleans Saints. Hear me out, friends. Andy Dalton is back. Get that bust Bryce Young out of here. I don't want to see him again. The Red Rifle is back, and he's ready to put up points with Leggett and Chuba Hubbard.
Bryce Young was going to play again. Did I not see that?
No, they were non-committal because he's a big-time bust. And then you've got Derek Carr, who's trying to play this week. I guarantee you Derek Carr plays. He's going to throw multiple egregious interceptions. And then on the flip side, the backup for New Orleans, Spencer Rattler, remember when everybody said he was going to be the steal of the draft because he looked good in August preseason? He's awful. Can't move the ball. I love the Panthers this week. They're at home. Let's see a little Xavier Leggett. Chuba Hubbard's having a really nice year. He's 5 yards per carry. Like, you're telling me you got confidence in the Saints team? The Saints team's about ready to quit. They started 2-0. Guess what? They've lost 6 straight. I know everybody thinks the Carolina Panthers are a joke. They are. Plus 280, Red Rifle versus potentially Spencer Rattler or beat up Derek Carr.
Rap sheet's saying that Canales told reporters Bryce Young will start once again.
What? I heard the opposite. Well, that makes me not feel good about it. I'll stick with it.
Like it even more. Like it even more, Johnny.
Oh, God. Have you guys watched Bryce Young play quarterback? Did you see that preseason photo of him in his backpack? Now I feel like I got a number 9 coming my way. But what do you guys feel like about that? Why are you starting Bryce Young? He's awful.
I'm holding. I love it. Love the tease.
Nice.
Plus 290 is disrespectful. Divisional opponent at home.
Yep.
Gotta love a home dog. Panthers, you're right. The Saints are going to quit. Dennis Allen is one of the worst coaches, if not the single worst coach in all of football.
That's the end of the road. If this is the end of the road for Dennis Allen, if they lose this game,
I could see it right now. Yep. The Saints fire Dennis Allen on Monday.
One of the year.
Yeah,
the Reaper comes to that door if that happens.
I think
you're telling me it's not good to lose 7 straight. It's bad to lose 7 straight games. Remember when people are like, Saints are going to host the playoffs, go through New Orleans, and then they're going to host the Super Bowl when they were 2-0. So are you holding or folding, Bo Brock?
Bryce, man. I mean, the performance from the Saints last week against the Chargers was probably the most pathetic of the weekend.
Bryce Young coming off his best game of the young season, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions against the Broncos. Those were his only 2 touchdowns this year, by the way.
I'll hold with you.
Nothing but up.
Hold with you.
Nothing but up from Bryce Young.
Yeah.
Best team of the season.
That's my like. If I'm going to get out of this, it's got to be with a gross swing like that. It's not. I'm not going to nickel and dime my way out of that.
If I'm Fox and I'm carrying that game, I send like the least amount of cameras down there. It's like it's one shot the entire time. It's like the all-22, and they don't even give any kind of announcers or anything. They just let whoever's around, like they just get ambient sound. Like nobody wants to watch that game.
They feed in the radio broadcast. They don't have any replays set up.
Super chat from Josh 199. Any chance we get Ojulari and another piece? Well, if you're a chance, always a chance. I think that's doubtful. I think like if it was me, yes, Josh. I know people scoff at this. I would have made Calais Campbell a Cardinal immediately after that Dolphins game. He's being wasted there. I think 2026 7th rounder. You ship Miami, you get Calais here, give him 93 again, let him come and be a part of your defensive line rotation, and then you get an edge rusher. Like why wouldn't you do that? So I
no longer the threat of, you know, a 37-year-old standing in the way of developing somebody younger. There's just not. And like now you get him a chance to him mentor some young players that you're excited about, and Darius when he gets back, and Dante Stills, and it just that would be. I agree. I mean, there's no reason not to pull a deal off like that.
And we can eat crow on this show. Like Bo and I were staunchly opposed to them signing him in the offseason because they had tried to roll the dice on a couple other guys. And ironically, the guys that they signed that were 10 years younger didn't work out. And then he's 38 years old. I was rewatching the game. He's their best player on their front seven. Now I know they lost the other guy, but he was unbelievable in that game. He was unbelievable.
He was a problem. He was a big time problem. Rudy's saying Chase Young, anyone? I mean, here's the thing. Like you can kind of talk me into anything with Gannon and Rollis. Like, could they be the defensive staff that puts him in a position to be successful? But I don't know. I think with Chase Young, he is who he is at this point.
Yeah, I'm with you. He quit on the Niners in the postseason last year. He lollygagged a lot. I would much rather have I'd rather have Jadeveon Clowney than Chase Young. I think Jadeveon Clowney, he can at least play the run. I know he doesn't have the numbers, but again, there is very rarely any scenario where I would say no to at this point. How can you say no to anybody? That's starting for another team. How can you say no to subscribing to PHNX Sports here on YouTube? You can't. Subscribe to PHNX Cardinals wherever you get your podcasts. Drop us a like. We got 1,100 people watching right now. If you're on Twitter, jump over to YouTube. Drop us a like. We're going for 500 on this football Wednesday ahead of Halloween. It could get spooky here for the Arizona Cardinals if they don't make a move, Brack. We got a Baldy interview dropping manana, and he's got some takes pertaining to the Cardinals' viability the rest of this season.
Yeah, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyler Murray, the NFC West up for grabs. Baldy touches on all of it. Also, the win from over the weekend. We've got great content coming your way. Even though the show is officially off tomorrow, we're not live, but we do have that interview with Baldy dropping tomorrow, plus some extra content from our interview with Michael Wilson, stuff you did not see. Michael Wilson breaking down his touchdown grab, Marvin Harrison Jr.'s touchdown grab. You'll see one of those two, plus another Baldy breakdown that's exclusive for PHNX as well. All that's coming down in the next couple of days. Make sure you've subscribed here to PHNX Sports on YouTube. Make sure you hold it or you fold it on any of those picks with our friends over at Bet365. And yes, it's so simple. Just hit that like button on this video. And I think PHNX D-backs live tonight after the World Series game. No matter what the result is it going to a game 6 or is the series over? Make sure to check that out and much, much more here on PHNX Sports. Go PHNX.com for Craig Morgan's article tomorrow, dropping about Jonah Williams. Don't want to miss that. Unlock it by becoming a diehard. For Johnny Venerable, who's going to be dressed up as, I believe, AJ from the Costco family for Halloween. And Damon, Dawg, there they are. Everybody's favorite TikTok family, the PHNX boys. Guys, have a great rest of your Wednesday and Thursday. Barring any trade, We'll talk to you on Friday for a full preview show here on PHNX Cardinals.
We all silly like the mayor.